Hi, English 232. We have entered week 2, so I wanted to give you an overview video of some things to do. I'm sure some of you guys are overwhelmed. Online learning is very unique. This is also a sophomore level class, and it's one of only a handful of sophomore level classes that you actually have to take. So it is unique in that aspect as well. So I want you to know that tonight, Tuesday night at 7:30, I'll be on for a virtual meeting. Make sure to hit the link over under my picture where it says click here for virtual meetings. I'll be on for about an hour or so. So I'll also have some English 111 people hopping on as well. So it'll just be some time for you to ask questions and get clarifications. Some of you guys are auditory learners. And so obviously this class might be a little hard for you because you don't have someone to talk to. Well, you do. You're more than welcome to video chat with me outside of these hours. Just email a time and we can set something up and you can ask all the questions you want. You can also come to campus. So just let me know what you need. So we are on week 2. Okay. If you have not printed out or looked at the downloaded whatever the syllabus, please do so. If you haven't watched the introductory video, please do so. Just be aware things might look a tiny bit different because as I get feedback, I rearrange things just to try to make things easier for you. As you can see, an important due dates link is there. If you've not done the EVA, you've got until the 21st to do it, so do it ASAP. There's also some study material about literature. You'll use it as you need it. I'll also point to it. One of the ones that we have used already is the literary lenses. I talked about that in week 1. So this week I'll go over some of the lit term stuff, and then week 3 we'll talk about some of the Greek Roman gods and biblical allusions. So week 1, some things that you should have done is taken a look at the readings and vocabulary with due dates. You had to read Emily Dickinson and Walt Whitman. You should have made a copy of your thinking log. The directions are underneath. You should have taken a quick class survey just to get your classmates to get to know you, and then signed up for literature groups. So we will have some group work. So this is just a way for you to find people with whom you're compatible. So for instance, for those of you who can communicate after 7, maybe for a few minutes and make a plan or weekend or whatever. And then you should have accessed a weekly discussion question. As you always, the supplementary materials are extras. So these are things that are copies of things that are in your book that are introductory elements. This is just some background about American history, American geography, important social movements before our time period. So week 2 in the supplementary materials. Notice there's an introduction to the time period 1820 to 1865, which is when many of these writers were born and grew up. So obviously this time period influenced them. So that's a quiz if you want to kind of quiz yourself on that time period, what was going on in America. And then there is a comprehension quiz that needs to be moved to week 3. So I'm sorry it's still there. For some reason it didn't move. Okay. There is also a suggestion page. So if you want to just make a quick suggestion. So if you email me and say, hey, I think this would be better in this place, you can make the suggestion and I'll kind of weigh it and see if anyone else mentions it. There's a novel assignment for those of you who want to start. You don't have to start. We will start week 4 together. But if you're the type that's panicking and you want to pace yourself and you want to read, a chapter a week, that's a preview just to kind of help you. But we are going to talk about all this stuff week 4. Okay, I will be compiling group members as soon as everyone completes the EVA and does the group member activity form. And then I'll give your groups names so that when I reference groups for whatever reason in my emails and so forth, I'll know what to name you. Okay, so I'm going to click on readings and vocabulary so we can take a look at what we're doing this week. And then I need to move, so I'll do that in a bit. The weekly discussion question, I'll need to make a copy of that and move that down to week 2. But our overarching discussion question this week is to make a chart or some sort of organizer in some way. It's to talk about how these stories, The Storm, Yellow Wallpaper, To Build a Fire, Sister Carrie, whatever stories I have listed up here, and I'll double check them and make sure they match the the syllabus. How are they part of the realism or naturalism movement? They might be one or the other or both. Okay, highlight quotes from each of the texts. So you will have each of them on separate lines. And then after you support it with quotes, just write a sentence that tells what the reader is trying to tell us. So what is the writer trying to tell us through his or her use of naturalism, realism, and other things? Now, this is the thing about determining what the reader is trying to tell us. What you can do is use those lenses. So the writer or the writer is trying to tell us something about women or African Americans or the South or human desire or the working class. Use those lenses. And if you need to know where they are, again, they are under study material. Okay. And I did a video about those, but use one of those lenses to help you focus. Now, I know a lot of you guys get really frustrated with this class. Don't get frustrated. The cool thing about this class is that you can really personalize your experience. And that's why I do these thinking logs, is to help you personalize the literature, play on your strengths and weaknesses, and then I'll go in and help you glean out some of the things that you're struggling with. So this is to really personalize your experience because literature is a big topic. Now, notice this week we have Owl Creek Bridge, White Heron, okay, storm to build a fire, Sister Carrie. So I need to add Owl Creek Bridge and White Heron to our reading list and take off. Like I said, I'm trying to edit and make your experience clear. Okay, so those are the stories. So each of those stories will be on their own line in your notebook. So you will go to your notebook. Okay. And you'll go to week 2. And I would just paste in the question. Okay. Make sure your page numbers, line numbers, paragraph of text. So in here, I'm just going to put yellow wallpaper. Page 482, paragraph 6. Then you would put the line. She looked at the trees and laughed. This is not a line. Okay. Okay. Then I would put that maybe I'm talking about gender. Role of women as maybe sex symbols. Okay. So those are things I might be looking at. So notice I'm talking about symbolism. There might be symbolisms like, the trees. Trees are typically symbols for knowledge. So instead of sex symbols, it might be roles of women in education. Maybe women are getting an education. So that's why the trees are present in that story. So it's telling us that women are educated. Now, some of you guys get frustrated because why do these writers speak in such sort of why do they speak in this archaic sort of way that's like a puzzle? Why do I have to unpack it? Well, you have to think about when the writers were writing. So how were women, African Americans, how was the working class treated from the 1860s to the 1890s? Could they come out and write about wanting an education or wanting better economic opportunity? So those are things you have to think about. So you have to think about why the writers are doing what they're doing, which was the question that we discussed last week. So why do they have to write in a symbolic way? Sometimes it's fear for their lives. Sometimes it's for creativity. All sorts of reasons. So that's what you'll be focusing on this week is those stories. Okay. Notice these are homework, which means you'll read them after you're done with all those, and then you will complete your entry week 3. Okay, and then we'll review for the test. I'll introduce you to your first project, and then you'll have your test week 4. Now, our literature this week is imagery, personification, illusion, figurative language, metaphor, simile, theme, tone, voice, and point of view. Okay, all of these items, and you might want to take notes. It depends on who you are, or they might be very familiar to you. Look at your glossary of lit terms. This is the book's website. So look those up. Make sure you understand those. I'll be giving you feedback on your notebooks this weekend. I have a place for you to upload them so that you can get some practice and I can give you some feedback. But regardless, realism and naturalism is obviously something you would need to look up. So There's realism. So you would want to make sure you understand realism. And there's naturalism. Now, simile is in there under S. Okay, so you'll need to make sure you get those words down. Now, if you're kinesthetic, you could even go to Quizlet and find some flashcards. Like I said, everyone in here has different strengths and weaknesses, so you got to play on those. So if you need to go into depth, go, but a lot of you guys have already learned these and you just need a refresher. Okay. However, you'll need to talk about these things. So you'll need to talk about the images, so maybe the tree images that all indicate that women want to be educated. Anything in the story that's given qualities of people, so are the trees talking? Allusions to famous people, so pay attention to names, places. Anything that seems out of the ordinary is more than likely some sort of reference to Greek, Roman gods, the Bible, something that someone has read before, sometimes historical documents like the Declaration of Independence. Okay. Make sure you understand figurative language. Metaphor and simile are both comparisons. Those are used to tell a story and to also to make a claim. We'll talk about theme statements after you do your theme statements, because essentially that's what you're doing when you're telling me what the writer's trying to tell us. That's the theme statement. Okay, so you'll look up theme. Tone is the writer's attitude towards the topic, which you can tell through word choices. And then voice or point of view varies. Sometimes the narrators of stories are like gods. They know what everybody's doing and thinking. Sometimes the voice of the story or the person telling the story is involved in the story. That matters. Okay, that matters. That's influenced by time period. That's influenced by the person who is telling the story. That's influenced by what the story is. So make sure you know all of those points of view and you can point to those. So if something's written in first person point of view, like I, me, mine, that might help indicate that women wanted an education. They wanted to be their own people. They didn't want to, they wanted their own voices to be heard. So that's a little bit of an introduction to week 2. There we go. Okay. Like I said, I will be assembling groups the end of this week, so please make sure to fill that out. And then for some reason, there was something else I said I needed to put up here. I know I need to move the discussion questions, so I will be doing that. Anyway, I might add something to week 2 because I know there was something in my head that I wanted to add. So I will add that. I'm also going to add a Remind 101. So if you want to sign up for my text message reminder service, I'll be putting that up there today as well. So just want to give you a brief overview. Again, if you have any questions, please email me. Let me know. Come to my hangout tonight at 7:30. All you have to do is get on Moodle and click that link. You don't have to have a camera as long as you have a microphone. The camera is just, for your face, but if your computer has a microphone, you can always talk. So I look forward to meeting a lot of you guys, and please keep in touch and ask me if you have any questions.